Hello and welcome to the Banker's Tech Talk video series, looking at everything fintech. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by David Nugent, who is CIO and co-founder of Wealthsimple. Dave, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about what Wealthsimple does?
Yeah, so Wealthsimple is a digital investment advisor, otherwise known as a robo. We're kind of aiming to make smart investing simple, low cost, and transparent for all kind of investors. We launched in 2014 here in Toronto. We've grown to about 40,000 clients and about $1 billion of assets under management. Recently, we just launched in the US and the UK, making ourselves kind of a global presence. And our main investor is Power Financial Corp. So they've invested about $100 million into the business.
Okay, and do you find the regulatory environment in Canada sort of quite supportive of the robo-advisors, and how does it compare to other jurisdictions?
Yeah, I would say certainly working with the UK, the US, and the Canadian regulators, very different. Certainly the UK regulators have been kind of leading the charge with regards to transparency and data protection and whatnot. The Ontario Securities Commission, who is our main regulator, has been really supportive of kind of the evolution and closing that kind of advice gap that exists. They took cues off of the UK and actually created its own little sandbox called the OSC Launchpad. Kind of helps companies, I guess, try out innovative ideas in kind of a contained environment. Speaking to the regulators on a very frequent basis and educating them on kind of how the trends are changing has certainly been very important to the growth of Wealthsimple. We continue to kind of work with them on that.
Okay, but what are the challenges really to working in these kind of different markets that have different regulatory environments? Yeah,
so I think that the two main examples I could probably explain to you would be the first one. So in Canada, when we launched, you had to call every single person and do a formal phone call with a registered advisor. So part of our mission is to make investing available for everyone. So our minimum account size is $1. So when you have a client who has $1 and have to actually speak to them, the economics you could see don't scale very well. And so we worked with the commission to basically create this call if necessary model, basically targeting clients who are vulnerable, would still need a conversation, but otherwise they could go through the whole process without needing a phone call. So that's similar to what the US and UK have already done. The other big difference, I guess, is with regards to the UK, the way that the UK looks at data. So you can't have your data outside of any of the EU countries. That's not the case, obviously, in Canada, the US, or Canada, I should say. So those kind of little nuanced differences have certainly provided us with some challenges, but nothing too big to overcome.
And you talked about launching in the UK recently.
Yeah.
What were the reasons behind the UK specifically?
Yeah, we always from the beginning aspired to be a global company. There's a lot of similarities between the UK and Canada. Obviously, language is a key one. But when we look at the cost of the average investor in the UK and Canada and the high fees, the big advice gap that's kind of continuing to evolve in those countries, it made a lot of sense for us to go there. We hired a great local team, kind of co-founded by Toby, who was the original guy at SpotCat. And so providing us with kind of the local expertise there has allowed us to kind of expand there a lot faster than maybe we initially thought.
Okay. And do you see any impact that Brexit will have, let's say, on the robo-advice area?
I think the biggest one is certainly the passporting of the license to the different countries. I mean, we took the necessary steps already and have moved to license in Germany to allow us to get the license everywhere. But we still see a lot of opportunity both in the UK and kind of Europe in general.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time, Dave.
Thank you.